Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Be Better podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Perkins. The mission of the Be Better podcast is for people to think about life deeper. All right, we have a very educational, informative podcast today. It is titled Be Better with MADD, MADD, which is an acronym for Mothers Against Drunk Drivers. And I have Mrs. Terri Bowen here. She's a development officer for MADD Arizona. Terri, how does it feel to be you today?
It feels great to be me today. We're about 1 week out from one of our core fundraisers, so I'm on the ground running.
All right, then thank you so much for squeezing me in with your time. This is very, as you know, very important information we need to spread and share with the world. So thank you for your time. Let's get right to it. Before we get into MAD, tell us about you. Who are you?
Well, I'm a wife and a mother, two biological children, two stepchildren, and nine grandchildren combined. Been married for nearly 15 years to the love of my life, and we live in Surprise, Arizona. Left California a couple of years ago, and I love Arizona so much it's not even funny. I have 22 years background in government work and decided I wanted to move to nonprofit work to make an actual difference, boots on the ground.
That's beautiful to hear that you married the love of your life. That is awesome. What is the mission of MAD and what role do you play to inspire the mission?
Well, the mission of MADD in a nutshell is to stop impaired driving and to educate the community at large on the dangers of impaired driving, underage drinking, and to serve the victims of the senseless and preventable crime.
What do you enjoy about your position?
What I love about my position is being able to meet people, educate people. I would say that my favorite thing about who I am is I'm a networker, I'm a connector. I feel like a hub in a Tinker toy. And so I love being able to put people together with the resources that will best serve them. And within MADD, I get to work with first responders, court personnel, law enforcement, victims of these crashes, and educate offenders in the community about the dangers.
Now, I understand that MAD is a nonprofit. It was started in September of 1980, and MAD has offices in each state of the United States and each province of Canada. So you're out there. You also do work in Brazil. You're basically, in a nutshell, pretty much all over the world. What?
All over the world, and more recently, brand new office in Puerto Rico.
Oh, okay, very good. What statistics, as far as statistics go, uh, have you seen decreases from your efforts, meaning MAD worldwide?
Overall, yes, there have been over 50% reduction in drunk driving fatalities. However, sadly, recently there's been an uptick in fatalities, and we're kind of looking at attributing that to potentially just people being at home with the pandemic, depression associated with the pandemic, and because we weren't able to be out in the community for the last 2 years, really focusing on that educational component in person.
A shocking thing I witnessed during the pandemic when you went shopping, there was no alcohol on the shelves. And it blew my mind that people would resort to that. It just, I don't know. I don't know. I was just a little shocked that, so yeah, there's a lot of help that's needed out there for times that can bring a person down to say, there's better alternatives. So I appreciate your work. And I do, as I was preparing for this, I do see the numbers, like you said, they are decreasing, but sometimes there's spikes depending on what's going on in the world.
Correct.
What do you find challenging about MAD in your work, in your role?
In my work currently, what I find challenging is securing the volunteers to assist in bringing our events to life. Ideally, we envision our events not being driven by staff as myself, but being guided by staff like myself, but being driven by the volunteers, and those volunteers being victims and families, survivors of the crashes, our first responders, law enforcement personnel, court personnel that are able to ensure that we're doing the honor and the recognition in a manner that is very justifiable to our families.
Are there links, books, or other resources to access for people to learn more about MADD?
Absolutely. We have our MADD National, which is MADD.org. We have MADD Arizona, MADDArizona.org. We have Facebook, which is MADD Arizona, and Instagram, which is MADD Arizona as well. And we're also on LinkedIn as well.
And a reminder to the audience, MADD is spelled, in this case, MADD.
Correct.
Very good. I appreciate the concept of victim impact panels that MADD has influenced. Can you please explain the purpose behind these panels?
Well, a victim impact panel is I was going to say twofold, but it's kind of multifaceted. Ideally and initially, it is for the offender to sit in front of a victim who's been impacted by these crashes, and for the victim, it gives a voice to the voiceless, and it puts a face to their loved one that they've lost. Occasionally, we have survivors who speak, and they speak, in regards to how their crash impacted them. And that it's just impactful when you sit there and you watch a group of 20 to 80 people with grown men actually just with tears going down their face because they're able to put themselves into the shoes of that person. And they're able to then internalize and recognize that this isn't a victimless crime. It's not an accident. It's a crash, and it's 100% preventable 100% of the time.
I love the concept because in life, dealing with people, you don't understand until you're in their shoes what's really going on. So I love the concept of that. What are some impacts MADD has made since being founded in 1980? Now, we know they're working on reducing the influence of people driving. What other impacts have you guys worked on?
Well, part of the thing that we talk about very specifically when I'm facilitating a victim impact panel myself is that a lot of people in the room will raise their hands and they'll go, oh, yeah, I remember when blood alcohol content for a DUI offense was 0.10. Well, now it's 0.08. And that was very much at the influence of MADD and their lobby. In addition to that, the drinking age has been increased to 21. The minimum level, the minimum age has been increased to 21, whereas it had been all over. In fact, when I was growing up, it was 18 in various places, you could go in.
When reading about that, I understand it because as I was growing up, I think I was part of that where it went from 18 to 21. Now, to rent a car in many states, you have to be 25.
Correct.
Has there ever been, this just came through my head yesterday, has there been any talk from MADD to increase that from 21 to 25?
Not that I've personally heard, but I wouldn't be against it. But then, our job is as difficult as enough
Right.
as it is with the education component at 18. I used to honestly be of the mindset that if you could bleed and die for my country, you should be able to drink. But it really isn't about the age, Dr. Perkins. It's honestly about the biological component of the brain. It's about the age, but it's really about the biology. Our brains are not fully formed, and especially in our young people. And when grown adults can't even make a common sense decision with ideally full capacity of their brain cells rubbing together, then, how do we expect our youth who are impaired to be able to make a decision?
Yeah, I know I'm pushing the envelope with that recommendation. I know it's probably a bridge too far, but
I'm not against it.
Right. It's just it would be
Utah is lowering their blood alcohol content to 0.05. I believe that's on the books or is legislatively in discussion.
Which state is that?
Utah.
They're lowering it.
Yeah, or raising, however you want to look at it, that their blood alcohol content, you're impaired at 0.05.
Okay. That there you go. Very good. I like to ask this question for every guest because I just want the audience to get a variety of perspectives. What would your experienced self say to your younger self if you could go back in time?
What I would say to my younger self was to take care of myself, be it self-care, mental health, physical health, dental health, all of those things that you don't think about, and just slow down.
Oh, yes.
I
Yes.
have no clue how I got to be as old as I am and have children as old as they are and have grandchildren in college. I'm just like, wait, how did this happen? And just to honest to goodness, when people say stop and smell the roses,
Yes.
stop and smell the roses. So often we make things so much bigger than they are.
Yes. Oh, preach it. Preach it.
Well, I
Yes.
tell my children, treat your children like you would treat their best friend.
There you
If your best friend's child spills milk, you're like, oh, that's okay, honey. We'll clean it up. But if your own child does it, you're like having a cow. So it's like just really truly realize what matters. And that's what I would tell my younger self to remember.
Excellent, beautiful words. I hope the millennials and Generation Z are listening. For some reason, they are in a hurry. I'm like, where's the fire? What's the rush?
Yeah,
Um,
slow down,
and next
just
thing you know,
enjoy.
you're 40 with kids and a house and a mortgage and a picket fence and two dogs and stressed out of your mind. Now mental health kicks in, and here we go, round and round we go.
And next thing you know, you're the parent of a 40-year-old who has.
Ah, there you go. Those are such great words. Thank you for sharing that. Is there any additional thoughts, things we miss, advice you want to share about MAD?
Well, the thing that I try to impart to people when I meet them and we speak about MAD specific is to have a plan. If you plan what you're going to wear for that night when you go out to hang with friends, to celebrate, have a plan for how you're going to get home safe. Think about it's something as simple as so many of us are animal lovers out there. How's your dog going to feel if you don't come back home? Who knows who's at home waiting for you, be it your pet, your little one, your spouse, your partner. Have a plan. Not a single one of us ever thinks it's going to be us that will be a victim of a crash, and nor does anybody think it's going to be them that's going to be arrested. Especially that first time offender, it's Thursday night, you've gone out, you've had a couple drinks with your coworkers, it's 9 o'clock, you're driving home, you're on the 101, and you hear whoop,
Oh.
and you pull over, and ma'am, sir, have you had anything to drink tonight? And oh yeah, well, I had a glass of wine and I
Just
had some.
one, just one.
Yeah. Everybody's had one drink. That's
Everyone's
it.
got one drink.
Nobody's had more than one drink ever. And it's just have a plan.
They get you.
Decide to ride. There's Uber, there's Lyft, and I can guarantee you, I tell my young people all the time when we speak, your parents will want to hear from you that you made this mistake. Mom, dad, please come pick me up. Are they going to be mad? Sure, they're going to be mad. But I promise you, if you don't come home, they're going to be heartbroken, devastated, and never the same.
It's tough when you and I probably in the audience when you know of someone and they're not alive the next day.
Yes.
And so whatever that is, a medical condition or drunk driving, a fatality. So I want to read some of the statistics here that I got off the website. 300,000 injuries per year caused by drunk drivers, and then 43.6% of fatal injured, fatally injured drivers tested positive for drugs. So part of that being alcohol. Thank you so much for your time, your wisdom and knowledge you just shared. We really, really appreciate it. If you can hang on after this, I'd like to talk to you offline. Okay.
Absolutely. Thank
And
you so much.
one more time, where can people find information about MAD?
MADD.org. That will take you to our national site, 1-877-MADD-HELP, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. If you've been impaired by a drunk driver, you have questions, that line is staffed, 1-877-MADD-HELP.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Terri Bowen, the Development Officer for MAD Arizona, joining us today. Just hang on for a second.